Welcome, baby, to the oh no, actually, this ain't that show. This is the CFB Top 25 show, baby. I am Big Drewski, your host, here with my co-host
Casper, the most.
Casper with the Moos, baby. If you have not already, click like, click subscribe. Share this with your friends. Brand new podcast. Well, I say brand new. We're I think on episode 10.
10 episodes in, something like that. Yep.
Yeah, something like that. So crazy week in college football. Now, some of you guys will be seeing this video, but feel free to comment on that stuff. But crazy week, man. Old Jimbo got fired. For $76 million left on his contract. That's Casper's the one that found the stat there, but that's the biggest in history right there. Some alleged, replacements or landing, which I don't know, man. I feel like he might be pretty set up there in Oregon. I don't know. I mean, maybe I feel like he'd be the type of guy that have a vendetta, against SEC schools, though, right? I mean, I don't know. I don't know him personally. I know they play on the grass. He made that clear, but his name's getting thrown around. Butch Jones's name is getting thrown around, which I think is bad move.
It looks like the two leading is Dan Lanning and Kalen DeBoer. I mean, that appears to be the two leading targets. And they apparently, Texas A&M has said they are going to go big. Here's one thing I want to point out about this deal, and we talked about this a little bit earlier. This is also a reason why they did this now. The players, as of today, have a 30-day window to enter the transfer portal. That means they really don't. I mean, they have to do it before the bowl game would be at this point, basically. 30 days from now, I mean, that's December 10th. I mean, that's only 10 days after their season's over. So, it's kind of an interesting deal on that they only have 30 days. NCAA should look at that as far as the coaching change goes. But I think that's why they try to do it early, try to either make up their mind or not,
Honestly, I mean, I like a little crazy, and Texas A&M has already proven that they make terrible decisions. I say, if you're going to go big, go for Coach O.
Dude,
I mean, he knows what it's like to coach in the
It's going to be hard to get him off the beach where he's looking at bikinis every day.
It's going to be hard to get him off of his new wife.
Yeah.
I mean, it's gonna be hard to get him off of her on the beach. Probably, he's living his best life. But
Jimbo's gone. Maybe they'll go for like Tom Brady. I don't know. I mean, who legitimately? Who could they go for? Like, all right, hear me out. Is USC going to be looking to get rid of Lincoln Riley?
Another wild conspiracy theory. Urban Meyer.
Harbaugh?
Oh, man.
By the way, he got suspended officially for 3 games. We're going to talk about that.
3 games, a.k.a. the end of the regular season. But, yeah.
Biggest thing on that is they got him out against Ohio State, and apparently he's angry about that. Supposedly he did not care about Penn State or whatever scrub they're playing next week, but he did want to play against Ohio State. So,
how annoying was the bet tweets? Scale of 1 to 5.
0.
You thought
I'm all for players standing up for their coaches. I think Coach Wade or Buddy said something about the unity in the locker room showing through or something. I think maybe he said, maybe not.
Sounds like something he would say.
But
Coach Jonathan Wade, for those
I like seeing the players take their coaches back because I want that coach to have the players back. And in this day and age, the transfer portal, NIL, playing for money, I like to see it. So I actually don't have a problem with it. And that is something that usually I would say annoys the piss out of me. So, yeah.
I think it would have been way cooler if they just would have said, like, slingshot engage. Just kidding.
Shake and bake. I mean, I'm with you.
I would have thrown an I8 bet in there if it was me, but bet was just kind of like, There's a lot of people ripping on them. I thought it was like a 2.5. Like, it was kind of like, I didn't really think it was all that annoying or all that intimidating, but I don't know. And then Tom Brady got in on action, which is something totally different. But Penn State fires their
He did go
offensive
to school
coordinator.
there, okay? He did go to school there.
He did, but I mean, that's like when your old uncle comes in and he's wearing like hey dudes and like surfer shorts and a flat bill hat, and he's like, hey guys, what's crack a lacking? you know.
Mhm, mhm,
Penn
mhm.
State fires their offense coordinator after losing to OSU and Michigan. It's kind
Yeah,
of interesting.
they fired him. They haven't scored so against Ohio State, they scored 12 points, against Michigan, they scored 15. Um, I guess they just need somebody to blame, so I guess that's the plan. Um, some people need to pay attention, particularly people in Knoxville. Anyways, moving on.
So there were some crazy games this week. Some crazy games. So I pretty well watched all of the first like noon to 3:30 games. I watched quite a bit of them. And then when the UT, when the Tennessee versus Mizzou game kicked off, I pretty well just watched that one. And then afterwards, I, crawled in a hole, ate like 3 Christmas tree cakes, and watched the highlights from the 2022 season. And I tossed my wife the remote on the way out. I did come back and watch the end of a few of those games. Some of them turned out to be pretty crazy, but we're going to get into the recap. Now, we're going to stay away from updating you guys on the new rankings because as we're recording this episode is going to drop on Monday. They have not come out yet, so we're not going to waste your time. We are, however, going to just catch you up on some things that happened. Number one, Ohio State absolutely skunked Michigan State. Was not even close, 38-3. Michigan State drops to 3-7. Ohio State, which is the number one team in the country on the CFP poll, remains undefeated. Um,
I'm putting you on the spot. Does that change this week with Georgia beating number 9 Ole Miss?
it should. I don't know that it will.
Y'all come back
Um,
Friday to find out.
yeah, y'all come back Friday to find out. Ohio State beat Penn State, Notre Dame, and did they
That's
have
it so far for ranked teams.
as far as like good teams?
Yeah, that was a
You know,
number 8 and a number 7.
Georgia throughout the end of the year is probably going to have a better looking resume, but I don't know.
What
I
if
mean,
Ohio State beats Michigan? If Ohio State beats Michigan, I think theirs just probably matches up better than Georgia resume.
yeah, I mean, at that point, I'll show them some respect. Because at that point, if you can beat Michigan and they have your signs, then you're doing something.
Yeah.
Um, Moving on, number two, Georgia did host Ole Miss. They absolutely whipped them up and down. I guess they got tired of teams, telling them that they couldn't, wasn't good or could only played one half. I don't know. They got Brock Bowers back early. So that was kind of a big deal to a lot
Yeah,
of
they didn't
Georgia
feel like they
fans.
needed him for Tennessee, so they went ahead and brought him back for Ole Miss.
Yeah,
Um, Bigger deal for Ole Miss there, Jackson Dart going down. They might lose to Mississippi State coming up.
that's a big deal. There's been a few times where he's been like their leading rusher in addition to their leading passer. But UGA beats Ole Miss 52-17, clinching the SEC title game. The SEC title will be Georgia versus Alabama, which we're going to get into here in a minute, but not even close. So Ole Miss drops to 8-2. On the year, Georgia remains undefeated. Number three, Michigan versus Penn State. Number 10, Penn State at Penn State. This was actually a pretty good game. I was watching this on and off for a bit. Michigan did end up winning 24-15. At halftime, it was 14-9. Penn State was keeping it close, but Michigan just eventually ended up running away with it. But this actually was a pretty competitive game. Not a bad loss for Penn State, but after losing to Ohio State and Michigan, now they dropped to 8-2. Probably going to get knocked out of the Big Ten conference championship, I would imagine. But You know,
Mm,
what thoughts on Penn State and their coach? Kind of in my opinion, sort of a similar thing with Jimbo Fisher a little bit. Um, Not done bad, but like not done great.
yeah, they just fired the OC. I mean, hey, look, they don't score that much, man. I don't know. This game, I actually, I told you I didn't get to watch this football because I had a wedding, but I did actually get to watch this game at the hotel, and I listened to it while I was driving up on Hulu Live.
Hmm.
Listen only. But
Yes,
this game's
exactly, because we
terrible to
wouldn't.
watch.
Yeah.
Honestly, the throwing, the lack of passing in this game, just I hate Big Ten football sometimes. But there's a total of like 30 throws in this game, and I think there was 17 completions between the two teams. Drew Aller kind of had to sling it there at the end a little bit to try to get them back in the game, and um, he's all right. He's a young kid. I think didn't they say he's only like 18, 19?
I don't know. I mean, I know he is kind of young,
Yeah,
but
like he's super young guy, but I think you give Penn State another couple years, I really do think they're going to be pretty good, man. I really do. Just give them a little time. I think they
I mean, the
have
Big Ten's
potential.
going to be a little bit more competitive now too.
Yeah, yeah, I think so. I think so.
Um, I'm with you. I mean, I think they'll be good. There's some good teams coming into the Big Ten, though. I'm curious to see how that goes. Um, so next game, number 4, FSU host Miami. This was a closer game than I thought it was going to be. Ended up kind of being a barn burner a little bit. FSU did pull it out 27-20. That drops Miami to 6-4 on the year. FSU still 10-0. After the third quarter, this game was 20-13. And then both teams ended up scoring 7 points each in the fourth quarter. But, you know, FSU went up 7-zip. Then at halftime, Miami tied it. It was 10-10. And then FSU just ended up pulling away. This is one of the ones that I didn't quite catch. I think I might have been going live whenever this was on for.
It was also on like a weird channel or something. It was on ACC Network and
Yeah.
kind of hidden. But I mean, no, this is about what I expect. This is an in-state rivalry, man. Like this is what happens when these teams play. Florida State, out of their last 3 games, they have Miami. They got North Alabama next week. Good tune-up, and they've got Florida. I, that Florida game is going to be kind of like this for them, and I don't think Florida's that good of a team. He just plays in-state rivalries. That's what happens, and they have to go on the road to Florida. That's scary.
These are the kind of games, which I mean, Casper's probably with me, but I'm gonna put FSU on upset alert next week. But
Not next
these are
week,
the.
week after.
Oh yeah, sorry. These are the kind of games, man. That I mean, they're gonna give it their all because they just really don't like each other. You got a lot of these guys grew up together. They played together or against each other in high school, or what. There's just a lot of things going on there with these
Other
games.
The other thing, to be fair to Miami, they're 1 knee away, from coming into this game, with 2
7,
losses and
yeah,
their season looking completely different and possibly even beating Florida State. I mean, um, it just, I've Miami. I think at the end of the year, I think when we look back, you're going to look at Miami and go, "What that season could have been if they would have took that knee." I mean, like I know it sounds dumb, but I think that's why they lost to Carolina. They screwed that knee up, lost
yeah.
their confidence, and just kind of tanked
I
after
like
that.
watching, Tyler Van Dyke for Miami play too. Which another notable thing that happened in that game was he actually got hurt. If he doesn't get hurt, kind of makes you wonder how this game would have went.
Yeah.
Emory Williams came in and played decent, 175 yards, 2 touchdowns. But Miami's pretty much knocked out of most contention. Right now, things are shaking up in the ACC a little bit, man. I mean, it's Florida State 8-0. They're first. Louisville 6-1. They're second. And then North Carolina, NC State, Virginia Tech are all 4-2, and then Georgia Tech
So
is 4-3.
the conference championship game is now locked into Louisville, Florida State. Um,
Yeah,
it is what it is.
I
Yeah.
mean the way Georgia Tech crept up there for a minute. It was looking like they might do something.
Well, I lied.
Um,
I lied. It's not. Florida State's locked in. If Louisville loses, they still might be out.
it's a weird race, man. Louisville's got
I think they have Miami next week. Is like their
so
last.
Louisville's got Miami, and
Yeah.
then they've got Kentucky.
Yeah.
But if they lose to Miami,
Oof.
some
I'm
things
gonna have
are.
to wrap up my
Who's
U
North
jersey
Carolina?
update.
Who's North
Carolina,
Carolina got?
they've got NC State is the last game, and I think there's a Clemson. Clemson and State.
So NC State has Virginia Tech and Carolina left. Virginia Tech, if they beat NC State this week, I mean, there's still a lot of
Yeah.
possibilities
Basically,
here.
though, if Louisville wins, then they move on. But anyways, moving on. How did we get to that? Oof, wow, we got far off track on that one, buddy.
Washington hosted number 5. Washington hosted number 18 Utah. Yet another barn burner. Ended
Watched
up
this
being a close
one too.
game. Do what?
I said I watched this one too. I was pulling so hard, brother.
Yeah. So Washington ended up winning 35-28. Or whatever. So, I mean, this was a pretty good game, man. I mean, it was kind of back and forth a lot. First quarter, Washington was up 10-7. By the end of halftime, Utah was actually up 27-24. And then Washington scored 11 points in the third quarter, and then no team scored in the fourth quarter. So Washington just ended up running away with it. Michael Penix Jr. doing, Heisman like things, yet again. Threw for 332 yards, 2 touchdowns. He's been killing it all year. I don't have the Heisman standings or anything in front of me, but right now Washington 7-0 in the conference, Oregon 6-1, and then Arizona, Oregon State are 5-2. USC is just, ooh, man,
Utah lost by 1 touchdown basically and did not score in the second half.
yeah.
That's tough. That's tough.
That's how the balls play from time to
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. Yeah.
But good on Washington, staying undefeated. Washington's looking like a pretty strong team this year, man. I'm kind of pulling for them, and
I'm not. I'm not.
I don't
But
usually pull for Pac-10 teams, but uh, I'm like, hey, give them all the smoke, see what happens.
yeah.
Number 6, Oregon host USC. USC, man, how quickly things change, bro. Oregon wins 36-27. For a minute, it was looking like Oregon was going to run it up on them pretty good. It was like, 21-14. And then at the end of the third, it was 28-14. It was looking like Oregon was about to start pulling away. Caleb Williams, you know, it's weird because, like, he played good. But not like as good as you would maybe expect him to play in this type of game. But 291 yards through the air, 1 touchdown. um, I don't know, man. I don't know if he's already counting them bills in the NFL or what, but either
Dude, I'm
way,
telling you, he is. Listen, here's the thing. I want to go back. I think I believe I predicted Bo Nix to throw 4 TDs in this game. Did I not? I think I did.
I honestly do not remember.
I think I did. Bo Nix putting out 400 yards, son.
Yeah,
400. It was it 405 yards or something like that.
it was a lot.
412. 23 for 31, 400 yards, 412 yards, 4 touchdowns. You want to talk about a stud? I'm telling you, Bo Nix. You just said Washington's a good football team. 100% agree. I am looking forward to the Pac-12 championship game between those two. As long as they both hold on and beat Oregon State, that's who will play in that game. They have to play Oregon State. Washington's got them next week. Oregon has them to finish up the year. I'm excited for that rematch because that was a good game the first go round. It's going to be a good game the second go round, and the second time it's going to be for a playoff spot. So
Mm. I'm
we'll
gonna
see
have to
what
go
happens.
back and listen to the last episode though. For
Yeah,
some reason in the notes it says I picked USC, but I feel like there's no way I would have picked USC.
I know we both picked USC because we just felt like there was some kind of reason about just felt like they were going to come out because then they play a tough game again. No, I don't know.
There's Like
I think
I,
we were kind of betting on Caleb Williams bounce back. That's what we were betting on, but maybe you
I
picked
don't.
Oregon. I don't know. We can go back and listen.
I swear, so far that's the first one I missed. But I swear to you, I don't think I would have ever picked USC for this game. Um, but either way, I'll mark it down as a loss though. But I was just curious. But
Oh,
I'm like, man,
you can
I'm gonna
take
have to
it.
go back in.
I
But
picked USC. I really thought USC was going to get it done. So
um, so next game, number 7, Texas at TCU. Um, I feel like my suspicions were, in my
no,
mind, validated.
man, not really.
I said Texas. I'm putting you on upset
They
alert. And
weren't on an upset alert. They dominated this game. They just
they
gave up
won
20
by
points in the fourth
3. They
quarter.
won by 3
They
points.
they dominated this game and sucked in the fourth quarter.
It you got
Texas,
to play. You got to
Texas,
four court. They let 20 points up in the fourth quarter, son.
yeah,
20
that's
points.
what happens.
Go back and listen to that last episode. I said I'm
Yeah,
putting you on upset alert. I don't think you're going to win by 10.
yeah.
Casper said, no, they're
I
going
marked it green. Look at the notes. I gave you
to.
credit. I gave you credit on the upset alert. I marked it green. I just,
I don't know why. It's one of those gut feeling things, man. In-state rivalry,
yeah,
TCU's at home. Like we talked about, dude, these in-state rivalries are crazy, but
every
I
time.
just I really honestly would not have been surprised if TCU would have won that one. But um yeah.
Texas rolls on. Texas now leading the Big 12 conference standings, by the way. Um, we'll talk about that here in a minute when we get to Oklahoma State.
Uh, um yeah. Sorry, I'm updating notes. What's the next game?
Next game, number 8, Alabama at Kentucky. This is a butt whipping, as you like to call it. Bama 49, Kentucky 21. Bama scored 21 the first quarter. Never even thought about looking back. Nick Saban's got these boys tuned up. They are here for an Eddie. You might as well go ahead and put everything you got in FanDuel on it. You might want to take your life savings out, put it on it, honestly.
They're
It's about
they're
as
not
good as you could get.
they're not playing around. I didn't know what the exact score was going to be. The only prediction I made was Bama 14 plus. I guess I should have dropped 20 on it. I don't know,
Yeah,
but
I mean that's
you
the
know,
line was 11. Bama did Bama stuff. Let's just go over a couple numbers here. Milrow, 15 for 22, 234 yards. That's disgusting. Devin Leary, pretty much off, 1731. I think you're going to see Kentucky continue to fall, but I mean, Alabama's just a good team. They got Chattanooga this week, and then they've got Auburn, obviously, to end off the year in the Iron Bowl. They are locked into the championship game against Georgia for the SEC. All I got to do is win that, and they're in the playoff. So it's a good time to be a Bama fan. Wish I was one.
I know it's just times where you're like, man, maybe I should have bandwagoned 15 years ago. Just kidding, but nah. I mean, Bama's still proving that they're Bama, dude. I mean, like you said, they're 9-1 right now. The only loss was to Texas.
I'll take the
Um,
blame. I wrote Saban off to start the year, like probably show 1, 2, or 3, and
you really
he's
pissed
really
him
just
off.
proved me wrong. I apologize to the rest of college football for that. But Saban's doing Saban stuff.
Yeah, I mean, he's just, proving why he is who he is. And Kentucky thought they were going to do something this year. Now, I did have them going 8-4, which is still possible. But
They're not going to be Louisville.
Kentucky always be thinking that they hear and they just ain't. It's basketball season though.
I
So
did
number
take
11,
Baker last night, just for the record.
you traitor. Number 11, Louisville hosts Virginia. This ended up being a close game as well,
I told you.
31-20.
I
Third,
told you.
did I disagree with you?
No, but I'm just saying.
Oh,
Look, I got one right too.
you did. You got one right. Yes. Um, Virginia's not a bad team. I mean, they're another one of those teams. You look at the record, but then you look at some of their games, and you kind of feel bad for them. But I think most teams are due one or two struggle wins. Louisville had a bit of a struggle win. I mean, these ACC games are getting kind of crazy, but all in all, hey, Louisville, they did what they're supposed to do, man. Ended up winning. So
On they go. They're look, they have an outside shot as a playoff team. I just wanted to point that out. I know they're only
Who,
ranked
Louisville?
11th. Yeah.
They
They
have
got
an outside
Miami,
shot.
Kentucky, and then they're gonna play Florida State for the ACC championship, and if they beat them
Yeah,
in the ACC championship, you gotta give it to them, right?
there's some. Yeah, I mean there's some good teams in their way. Um, who was their loss?
Their loss was to Pitt, but they beat number 10 Notre Dame and number 20 Duke. Um,
Louisville may hang around. We'll
I mean,
see what happens.
that it's just one of those teams that, depending on how conference championships games goes and stuff, at the end of the year here could be screwy. I really just kind of overall as a general statement think this last year of 4 teams, some feelings are going to get hurt. Like I don't think we're setting up for these boys to eat each other. These conferences just start screwing each other over here at the end of the year, and
Yeah,
there's gonna be some upset feelings. So
for sure. I'm so glad we're going to 12 though, NIL or
yeah,
not. Moving on, number 12, Oregon State. Very good win, 62-17. Um, by the way, Louisville's still 9-1. I can't remember if I gave y'all that update or not. Bama's also 9-1, but Oregon State over Stanford 62-17. Wasn't even close. Oregon State moves to 8-2 on the year. Stanford's 3-7, doing what Stanford do. Moving on. One of the most evenly matched games that just absolutely ended up being a blowout. Number 13 Tennessee at number 14 Mizzou. Mizzou just absolutely skunked Tennessee in this one, 36-7. The Vols faithfuls, hollering for, to fire the offense coordinator, defense coordinator, Heupel. The hell, Smokey's probably on the hot seat now. A lot of people in Tennessee are upset. Me and Casper know that fan base well. Um, just Tennessee, man, just absolutely could not do anything right. 3 turnovers. I mean, they ran the ball good all year long. Came in, I think they had 82 yards, 83 yards, something like that. Mizzou has this guy. If you guys have not heard of him, you need to look him up. Cody Schrader had 300 plus all purpose yards, 205 on the ground, had what was it? I'm trying to pull it up. 100 and whatever in the air. I mean, just absolutely killing it. Um, and he was on the field like the entire game. But keep your eyes on him, man. If you're not familiar with SEC football or whatever, but now it's worth noting. Like I said, Bama and Georgia clinched the SEC title. Mizzou sitting there 8-2, but they're going to be probably second in the SEC East the way it's looking. Tennessee drops to 7-3. Mizzou moves on to 8-2. We're going to see how that affects the rankings in the next episode, though. So check that one out. Moving on. Number 15, Oklahoma State gets absolutely taken to the woodshed by UCF, son. Unranked, now 5-5 UCF beats Oklahoma State 45-3. Oklahoma State was 7-2 coming into this game. Not anymore. That almost feels like it should have been 2 losses. Just
props
boom.
to Big Drewski for picking this game. I did not in a million years see this one coming.
That
So
one that one felt good.
why
That
is
one felt.
UCF wearing blue uniforms? Did you figure that out?
I don't know. I didn't really.
Okay.
Didn't really. I seen that on the highlights and I was confused. I'm not sure why, but they were wearing some blue uniforms. It's very interesting. um, but yeah, not much to talk about this one. Just I mean, Gus
Well,
Malzahn and the Golden Knights absolutely just wearing them out.
I just did want to make one comment on this. So Oklahoma State is second in the Big 12 standings. We're second in the Big 12 standings. Actually, they were second, but it was gonna be them in Texas. Looking like now, look, well, I was just talking about these conferences eating each other. If
Oklahoma
Texas lose
State.
another game, nobody's getting in the playoff out of the Big 12.
Yeah.
After having Oklahoma and Texas, who are definite contenders, Oklahoma State was starting to look like a possible contender, but
I mean, in the Big 12, Texas is 6-1. You got Oklahoma State at 5-2. Oklahoma, Iowa State, and Kansas State, the reigning champs, all 5-2. So these conferences, man, it's
Yeah.
been some. I don't know about you, but can you you know, Tennessee Vols fandom aside, can you remember a more topsy turvy, exciting year in college football? Because, like, honest to God, I mean,
So
I'm
I
looking
mean,
at all these conference standings, like, dude, anybody's got a shot. I don't know what's happening.
I feel like this what happens every year, if you want to be completely honest with you. Everybody comes in, it's not the SEC's year, Pac-12, Big 10, Big 12. And then Bama and Georgia both are going to be in the playoffs again. That's where we're headed. So, just want to let everybody know that's probably, I mean, at this point, honestly, if I was going to pick four, which we can do at the end if we want to, but I'd be looking at Bama, Georgia, Florida State, and Washington probably. But, I mean, that's. I mean, Bama and Georgia are both probably getting in at this point because Bama's going to beat Georgia in the SEC championship game. You're going to put both of them in. So you got Ohio State out there too. I mean, Florida State might get left out, but Bama and Georgia's both going in at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just glad I'm not on the committee, I
Yeah.
guess. But we'll see what happens. Now, to be honest with you, and I can't remember exactly what we said. I think both of us were considering taking Texas Tech in this game.
Yes, we were.
Um, and we ended up going with Kansas. But the next game, number 16, Kansas drops a loss to the now 5-5 Texas Tech Red Raiders. Me and Casper both picked Kansas. This was a crazy game. This is one that I ended up watching. This is one of those games, man, that honest to God came down to like the last minute. But this one was pretty well tit for tat. But Texas Tech goes up 10-zip in the first quarter. Nobody scores in the second. Texas Tech goes up 13-zip in at the end of the third quarter. So coming into the third quarter, it's 13-zip. Kansas puts up 13 points, ties it up. Now the
With
crazy
25
part,
seconds remaining.
huh?
Don't forget, with 25 seconds remaining, they kicked that field goal to tie it up 13-13.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's kind of what I was getting to, but yeah. So what was crazy about it was, so Kansas gets a field goal with 4 minutes 57 seconds left. They get another field goal with a minute and 55 left. And then, so Texas ended up, now, the way this game ended up going down to the wire, um, Texas, maybe I'm getting these games mixed up, but there was one. Hold on, let me scroll down through here real quick. There's one game, I'm pretty sure that this was it. Where Texas, I think it was something crazy like Texas Tech went all the way down the field or something with was this the one that they kicked with 7 seconds left? They hit a field goal with 26 seconds left at the end of this one, but it was one of those where Kansas had the momentum and they were looking pretty good or whatever, and then just Texas Tech ends up nailing that field goal there at the very end, but. This was a pretty competitive game, and if I'm not mistaken, I think I'm trying to look here.
Texas Tech went like 45 yards
Oh,
and
here we go.
no
Yeah,
time.
this was the one. They hit it with 7 seconds left on the clock or whatever. But yeah, so they had like this crazy down the field uh, pass or whatever. But anyways, they get all the way down the field in like 3 plays, call a timeout with 13 seconds, throw an incomplete pass, and then end up going for the game winning field goal at 7 seconds, and that was kind of what ended the game. But yeah, it was a crazy game. This was an awesome one to watch. Texas Tech ends up 5-5. Kansas is going to drop to 7-3 on the year. Again, me and Casper both had Kansas, but going to be interested to see how that game ends up playing out. Yeah, that's the one I was telling you about. I had crazy detailed notes on because I was sitting there watching it, and then the notes didn't save or whatever happened. But the next game, number 17, Oklahoma whooped up on West Virginia 59-20. Oklahoma moves to 8-2 on the year. West Virginia 6-4. We both picked Oklahoma, but I don't know that I mean, anything that you wanted to add to this game? I mean, it was pretty
Dylan
well.
Gabriel, 23 for 36, 423 yards, 5 touchdowns. That is smoking it, buddy.
He's been playing
Smoking
pretty
it.
good. Now, I will say, as great of a player as he is, this is going to be maybe a hot take. By the way, Oklahoma had some awesome uniforms.
I see. I was gonna say they were trash, so I'm glad we got to that.
What do you think
You
about
notice
Ohio
their
State's
jump man, by
uniforms?
the way? Did you notice that? Told you.
Yeah, we were talking about that. Ohio State actually had some nifty uniforms too. The light gray. Did you see those?
Yeah.
I thought those were kind of nifty. I'm kind of okay with gray. I think gray doesn't look as good with red. Looks better with orange, but we're not going to get into that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Oklahoma whooping up on a man. What I was saying was Gabriel. He's a great player, but honestly, I kind of don't know that. I think he's going to be a Doug Flutie, where he's going to play amazing in college and then get to the NFL and not really do much. That might be a bit of a hot take, but I do love watching him play. Um, Number 19 LSU hosts Florida, absolutely whipping up on them. Me and Casper both picked LSU in that one. LSU's going to finish, pretty decent. It looks like. The Gators are hovering around I had them at 6-6 on the year. Currently, they're 5-5. LSU's going to be 7-3 on the year. Brian Kelly. Might might be able to wiggle in and finish out another good season.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
He really needs to go ahead and finish this season 9-3. Big win against Texas A&M on that last week if he can get it done to end the season.
Jaden Daniels was absolutely playing out of his mind too, dude.
Super underrated player in my opinion.
Dude, I love watching him play. I think he's the one that transferred from Arizona, right?
Something like that.
Yeah, so Jaden Daniels had 372 yards through the air, 234 yards on the ground for a combined 5 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Dude,
Oh.
save some, give the ball to somebody else. Just kidding. It worked out swimmingly.
I can't believe that the rushing stat was one that blew my mind away when I was going through this game. I was like, good God, like you're talking about.
Can you imagine having Jaden Daniels and Cody Schrader on the same team?
By himself, he had dude, he had 600 yards by himself. 600 combined
and 5
yards.
touchdowns.
Yeah, that's insane. That's insane.
Dude, he averaged 14 yards through the air and 19 and a half on the ground. That's NCAA football 14. EA Sports is in the game. Numbers.
Yeah.
Insane, dude. And that's against the SEC. I know it's Florida, but that's an SEC team, dude.
Yeah.
Insane. Jaden Daniels, we salute you.
Real
man, a genius. Do what?
And that's after getting his bell rung. So glad he's back playing this week after that terrible no call.
Him and Tua must have shared notes. Number 20 Notre Dame had a bye week. They're going to go up against Wake Forest next week. Number 21 Arizona at Colorado. That game was played. Moving on. No, I'm just kidding. Colorado lost by 3 points again to Arizona.
In the fourth quarter.
Colorado is 4-6 on the year. Yeah, gave away 10 in the fourth quarter. This is one I tried to watch. This one, I think this one's on Pac-12 or something. I had issues getting it, which upsets me because I do like watching Colorado play. But Colorado's got. Do they got 1 game left? 2 games?
They got 2. They're going to lose both of them. They've got Washington State and Utah. At Washington State and at Utah. By the way, while we're talking about trash gray uniforms.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, trash.
Colorado looks good in anything.
Dion has got to win 2 games, buddy. For a bowl game, got to win 2.
That one hurt my totals as well.
It's a good thing you took that 3.5 over.
Oh, the no, I took the over under total. 'Cause-
Wins, I know, at 3.5, right?
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. No,
They
I thought
got
you were talking
4.
about the
They
total for
ain't
the
got
game.
nothing else. They got 4 in there. I see a lot of red
I
L's in this column.
Dude, I knew they were going to get 4 though. I still think if Travis Hunter doesn't get hurt though, the season goes different. But
Probably.
and then Shiloh had that dumb targeting
Yeah.
call
They probably go 6 to
against
6. They
you
should have
know.
won this game, man. They were leading this game and choked in the 4th quarter. I mean,
Yeah, they got to learn how to close them out, man. You
yeah,
can't start tweeting and celebrating in the fourth quarter. You got to finish it out.
yeah.
Number 22 hosts Rutgers. Um,
Number 22, Iowa.
what did I say?
It's number 22.
Oh, number 22 Iowa hosts Rutgers. Me and Casper pretty well called this game. I think I even said I would maybe take the under, which apparently was 28 and a half. And because I mean, we said that this was going to be a low scoring game. Now, I thought it was going to be like 16-4 or something stupid, you know. But Iowa did pull out the win, man. Now, Rutgers, again, is underrated, in my opinion. They are 6-4 on the year. Iowa's 8-2. Shiano's got them playing some pretty good defense out there in New Jersey, but just couldn't get the win on this one. 22 zip. Thoughts? Okay, moving on. Just kidding. I mean,
So
did
wait,
you
wait,
have
wait,
any
wait.
thought?
I know I do have a question. Are they playing divisions in the Big Ten this year or
That
not?
I'm
I'm
not
trying to
sure
figure
about.
this out. I'm sorry. Sorry, this actually matters.
I
Yes,
mean,
they
that's
are.
kind of what it looks like.
Iowa's going to be playing Michigan or Ohio State, winner of that game, that championship game. So, I did not realize that. I thought they had scrapped it this year. I was wrong. So, Iowa's a decent football team, man. Let's count the punts. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 punts in this game.
That has kind of always been an issue with the Big Ten, though. I mean, your best teams are all in the same, you
Okay.
know,
Yeah.
the same
It's
division.
it's the same thing in most conferences, honestly, when they had divisions. I mean, that's why the SEC's doing away with it. That's why the Pac-12 did away with it. And hey, that's the way to go.
Only time will tell.
Yes, sir.
Um, number 23. Sorry, I'm still recovering from a sick. My throat is just so dry
I hear you.
um, that I'm just coughing my head off. But
We're getting it now too. Thanks. Appreciate that.
do what?
So we're getting it now. Thanks.
So number 23, Tulane hosts Tulsa. This ended up again being went down to the wire, dude. Crazy game, crazy finish, but Tulane ended up outlasting them 24-22. Tulsa ended up putting up 9 points to Tulane's 3 points in the fourth quarter, making it a ball game, but just didn't have enough oomph there in the end to outlast them. Thoughts?
That 100-yard kickoff return for a touchdown was pretty sweet. I don't know if you saw the highlight on that, but that was pretty awesome. To
This is
start
one of
the
those
second half.
games that I had kind of down in the corner. Um, I had down in the corner and I was keeping my eye on it, but I was just kind of watching it passively. But I don't remember if I seen that or not. Just to be honest
Yeah,
with
I
you.
just seen that on Twitter. I mean X or something. But yeah, it was. I mean, I did not expect this game to be that close. Tulane is now 9-1. I don't know what they're gonna do, but they're probably gonna play in a bowl game and get whopped again. I mean, that's probably what's about to happen. So,
Yep. So do you want to cue this next one up?
no, you got it.
So number 24, UNC hosted Duke. Both teams scored. Well, Duke's probably scored more points than they have all year in this game. I don't know that for a
Oh,
fact, but
that's not true. Duke scored a lot of points this year. Duke's a decent football team. So is Carolina. They're both good
they're
football.
good. But most of the games I remember watching was kind of close. They're all starting to run together a little bit now,
Yeah.
but um, Duke did end up losing 45-47. That drops them to 6-4 on the year. That was their highest points they've scored. They've scored 42 against Lafayette and 38 versus. Northwestern, 41 against UConn.
I
So I guess
I just
they have.
want to go on record and say I've never been gladder in my life been wrong. I know my mom was probably looking down, making sure that happened. So,
Well, yeah,
I know
this was
she
one.
would have called me and yelled at me. So,
This was one. If y'all remember last week, Casper picked Duke, and I said, you know what, I'm going to pick UNC just because
yeah.
if they end up winning, I'm going to be like neener, 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 because you picked Duke and I picked UNC, and
So,
you're from Carolina, so.
you know what the real question about this is? Did you see what happened after the game?
I don't know if I remember
They
seeing anything after the game.
stormed the field against a
Mm,
6-win team.
that
You
that makes this even better. did they
know how I
did they
feel
tear the
about that.
goalpost down and throw them in the
They did
river?
not tear the goalpost down, they just got on the field, and I guess it's a win against Duke. It was the last home game of the year for the Tar Heels because they go to Clemson and to NC State, but,
This
man,
has been a wild ride for their football team. I mean, their only two losses were against teams that they should have beat. I mean, they should be sitting at
don't tell me that.
10-0, fighting for a playoff bid
Here's
right now.
here's the deal. They have only played one ranked team all year. Miami ranked 25th.
Mm,
One. It's tough.
I thought Clemson was ranked when they
But
played.
hey, listen, we're pulling for Miami this weekend. Miami gets the dub over Louisville. Carolina can get in, and hey, I'm here for that.
Oh yeah. Oh wait, no, they still got to play Clemson.
Yeah, they got to
Uh,
beat Clemson and State. So two big
but
football games
it's
for
been
them
a
coming
wild
up.
ride. But
Yeah.
yeah, so UNC gets the win on that one. Moving on, number 25, Kansas State versus Baylor. Absolutely mud stomped them 59-25. Kansas State's trying to stay alive in that Big 12 race. 7-3. That drops Baylor to 3-7.
They're 5-2 in conference. They are definitely. I'm telling you, dude, this Big 12 deal, buddy. I mean, all these 5-2 teams right here. It's a nightmare. It is a nightmare.
And it's like I said, it's been kind of exciting. But that rounds out our top 25. Casper had Georgia on upset watch. I had Texas. Neither of us picked that.
You were close.
Um,
I threw up an air ball. You got like a rimmed out. So
mm,
I'll
yeah.
I'll give it to you. Yours was like a doinker off the upright since it's a football show, not a basketball show.
Doink!
Mine was like, I don't know. Like if I went out and kicked a 50-yard field goal. So
So our weekly pick'ems were Casper went 10-7. I went 14-3. I had a pretty good week. I'm also winning, or sorry, I won week 11 in our weekly pick'ems game as well. We haven't been talking about that as much on here because I mean, that was kind of on our other show that we do. Now, if you want to hear a in-depth Tennessee Vols breakdown, check out the Little Tangerine show. But dude, it's been a fun year, man. I feel exhausted. I do feel like we finally got the whole podcast thing dialed in there towards the end of the year. But it's been fun. I'm sort of ready to like not be as busy though.
yeah,
You
I'm
know,
ready for to never do this.
yeah. Casper's been wanting to quit for like 2 years. So, um,
Not really.
any
I enjoy it. It's just like, man,
looking forward to the downtime.
I was looking forward to some of these teams like doing better than they have. Like some of these losses the last couple weeks just take it out of me, you know?
It did kind of take the wind out. I mean, I'm really curious to see, what happens with the playoffs and what teams end up making it. But
I'm definitely there with you because I think it's going to be ugly. Who's your 4? We got enough time right here. Who's your 4?
um, based off right now or like my prediction,
I want to redo mine. Yeah, just give me if it ended today, who would you take for your top 4?
if it ended today, I would go Georgia number 1, Michigan number 2. I would maybe go. This one's tough for me, but I would maybe actually go Washington number 3, and then FSU number 4. If it ended today,
Washington with a loss over Ohio State and Florida State.
you mean undefeated Washington?
Have they lost one?
No, they're 10
Oh,
and
I thought
0.
they lost one. Oh no, Oregon lost. Okay.
Yeah, Oregon. Now Oregon would have been my Pac-12 team, but they lost to Washington. But I just think I don't know why Washington has surprised me with their defense. I did not really respect their defense that much. Um, and then they've kind of surprised me a little bit. I don't have the team stats in front of me. Um, but their defense has played pretty well this year when they needed to and stuff. But I don't know why. I feel like FSU. Maybe it's just that Miami game, but I feel like FSU. They've got a harder schedule coming up, and I'm starting to feel a little crack in the foundation with them. But it's purely gut. There's no
Yeah.
actual
So I want
basis.
to change mine from earlier. If it ended today, right now, I would go Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan, and Florida State. That's what I would go
Yeah, I mean,
in that
I
order.
I want to see how Ohio State finishes out, but
Yeah,
yeah,
that big game there. For Ohio State, Michigan coming up. Michigan better watch out. I'm not saying they're gonna lose, but Maryland was decent earlier in the year. It's kind of one of them. I hate to say trap game because I know how you like to get on me when I say trap game, but Michigan playing Maryland before Ohio State. They don't have Harbaugh. They're at Maryland, 12 o'clock game. Don't screw around. Fresh up and
I
play. Maryland, I know they're only 6-4, but Talia Tagliavolia, I can't say his last name right to save my life, but they've lost a bunch of games. They did get a win against Nebraska. But you never know, man. You can't sleep on them.
you definitely cannot sleep on them. I think we're gonna have some. My prediction is I think there's going to be one major upset with these undefeateds in the next 2 weeks. Like, I think somebody's going to drop it. Maybe FSU against Florida. I don't know. That to me is the biggest probably trap game on the schedule.
The other one is the other setup for that is Oregon State in Washington, and that game is at. I'm trying to find out. I think that game is at Washington, which makes it a little bit less of a deal. But that's the other one that I kind of have circled. No, it is at Oregon State, night game this week. Honestly, that's probably the biggest game of the week coming up.
I mean,
Next week we'll talk about it on Friday. Y'all be sure to come back, but that's definitely I'll be tuned in for that game. So
yeah, we got some possible upsets. But any final closing words?
thank y'all for listening. It's been great. Sorry if I didn't have enough information because I was at the wedding. But hope you get feeling better, buddy. Hope you get feeling better. It's not even 10 o'clock yet. We're going to bed.
Dude, you're going to bed. I still got to round some stuff up. But yeah, sorry for coughing in y'all's ear. I swear I tried to control it best I could. But until next time, I am Big Drewski. This is Casper on the CFB Top 25 podcast, giving you just enough to sound somewhat educated at the water cooler, baby. If you hadn't already, click like, click subscribe, share us with your friends. We're going to give you the updated college football rankings on Friday's episode. Till next time, we are out. Peace.
Later.
Later.